Were you just bitten by a dog and you want to know how to double the amount of your settlement? Check out this short video to learn more. Hey everybody, Barry here with the LawFull channel. On this channel you're going to find short videos on the legal topics that affect our lives. If you haven't already, would you please subscribe to our channel? And if you have any questions or comments on a legal topic, please reach out to me. If I can't help you, I'll try and find someone who can. Okay, so you or a loved one or a friend were bitten by a dog and you're about to start the dog bite lawsuit process and you want to know how do you maximize your compensation in a dog bite case. The single most important thing I can tell you, and you're not going to like to hear it, but wait. Wait to settle your case. And here's the reason why. The vast majority of injuries suffered in dog bite cases are lacerations on arms, legs, and so forth. Well, the laceration is one thing, but then what's going to happen is over time, that laceration is going to turn into a scar. And that's a permanent disfigurement. Theoretically, at least it possibly could be a permanent disfigurement. Well, that's where the compensation is going to come from in a dog bite case. Well, unfortunately, that laceration is not going to turn into a scar, and we are not going to know what that scar is really going to look like for 6 months, or 9 months, or 12, or 18 months. So my first tip for you is wait. Be patient. Everyone wants their money right away, and because of it, people are always accepting small little offers from the insurance company. But if you want to maximize your compensation for your dog bite case, you're going to wait to settle. Okay, the second tip that I'd like to give to you is that the location of the bite is relevant to how much you're going to recover. So here's an extreme example. If you get bitten on the buttocks, say that 3 times fast. If you get bitten on the buttocks, not too many people are going to see that injury. But if you get bitten on your arm or your thigh or your calf or on your face, that is something that is going to be readily apparent to people throughout the rest of your life, at least the result, the scar is. And because of that, the location of the bite is something that's very relevant and something you should definitely point out to the insurance company. Okay, tip number 3, take a lot of photos all the way through the process of the dog bite lawsuit, and here's why. It may be that in 12 months, the scar from the laceration is not that bad. But when you first got bitten by the dog, you may have a serious laceration. It may be bloody. There may be stitches, although not always. And as a result, photographs of the laceration are going to be really important. Also, it may occur that the laceration gets infected or whatever happens to it during the course of the recovery. Make sure you're taking pictures all along the way. Pictures really do tell 1,000 words, and I've had cases involving scarring that pictures make the total difference between a real recovery and a small one. Okay, tip number 4. If your case is based around the scarring, the permanent disfigurement that you suffered at the end of all of this in 12 months or 18 months or whatever, do yourself a favor and hire a professional photographer to take photographs of the scarring. Again, these photographs can make the difference between a significant recovery and a little one. We can all take photographs with our cameras, of course, but if you have significant scarring, invest a few $100s that it would take to hire a professional photographer. They've got the proper lighting and the proper equipment to adequately highlight your wounds. This is something that can really make a difference and enhance the value of your recovery. Okay, tip number 5 is something that I've talked about on this channel many times, but 100% of the time, if you get bit by a dog, call the police, report it. They'll call animal control, get it on the record, get a neutral third party to document what happened. The police can also acquire the homeowner's insurance for the dog bite or for the owner of the dog who bit you. So always call the police after a dog bite. Tip number 6, something I've also talked about on this channel, is that you need to know what your state law says about dog bites. Dog bites generally fall under 3 broad categories. One is strict liability, like in my home state of Illinois, where if the dog bites, the owner's on the hook. Secondly, there is the general negligence standard. That just means that if the dog owner breaches his duty to take care of the dog, resulting in a dog bite, then the dog bite owner is on the hook. And the third type is a one bite state. It's not as many states in this country, but oftentimes in these states, the dog owner will actually have one free bite where the dog can bite somebody without having any liability. Okay, tip number 7, be prepared for the fact that the owner of the dog is going to try and defend what the dog did. And what do I mean by that? Dog bite cases often have defenses. So for example, in my home state of Illinois, if the dog bite victim provoked the attack, then he or she is going to be barred from recovery theoretically, or at least could be partially barred from recovery. Likewise, if in Illinois, if the dog bite victim wasn't acting peacefully around the dog, and that's up for debate what that means, that could be a defense. And finally in Illinois, if the dog bite victim wasn't lawfully present on the property when the dog bite occurred, that could be a defense. So for example, if they were trespassing. So there are defenses that dog owners can use to try and deflect liability for a dog bite. You need to know what those are in advance in your state so that you can be prepared for them. Tip number 8, document your medical treatment along the way. Now, I already discussed the fact that the primary wounds that you see from a dog bite are lacerations. Well, there's more than just scarring that comes from a laceration. There might be stitches, although oftentimes stitches aren't used because you don't want to trap the bacteria in the wound. So it's an open wound that you have to cover and replace the bandages on and apply ointment to. And it makes it hard to shower and all these different things that you're going to go through. You want to document all of this along the way. Just pick up a small journal that you can document what you're going through. Keep a diary. Document everything. Keep all the evidence. Take photographs. Build your case from the start to the finish. Okay, and the last tip, tip number 9, is something I've talked about so many times, but without homeowners or renters insurance to go after, it's very difficult to bring a dog bite case. You can try and bring a case against the owner of the dog personally, but if there's no insurance, the likelihood of recovering is pretty small. They may reimburse you for your medical expenses, and I've seen that countless times, but to really compensate you for your pain and suffering, for the damages that you've suffered, it's very unlikely that there's going to be a major recovery unless there's insurance. Okay, it's time for your take on the law. Were you bitten by a dog? Did you do any of the things that we talked about in this video to try and maximize your recovery? Tell us about it in the comments section below. Thanks for checking out this short video on dog bites and how to double the compensation you receive if you get bitten by a dog. If you have any questions or comments for me, please reach out to me. I'm an open book on this stuff. And if you haven't already, would you subscribe to our channel? Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you next time.